But whatever we just did, you shared to the Facebook page.
That's okay. We're still live. I mean, we're live right now too, by the way.
Okay, good.
We'll wait for some people to show up.
All right.
Because I don't want anybody to get in on the
tail end.
The tail end
on something so controversial.
Yes. So we do have someone on. If you're watching the show, please comment where you're watching from. That helps us figure out where our demographic is actually at. We're hoping it's all over the country. So please leave a comment in the comment section of where you're from, where you're watching from. But anyway, so I don't want to, since we're not going to be here for a god awful time, I want to jump right in it. Are you ready?
Yes, you lead us off, sir.
Okay, so one of the big things that's been going on for the last 4, 5, 6 years is Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a minute. Let me explain this situation the best I can, and then we'll get into the discussion portion of it.
Okay.
And for everybody that's watching, the whole two of you, please feel free to ask questions because I will answer them. So here's the deal. So I don't know how many years ago Colin Kaepernick decided one day that he was just going to jump up, and when the national anthem started playing, he was going to take a knee.
Mm-hmm.
So I know he has a reason that he did that, and he felt like, in his opinion, that was the best thing to do. That would get the most attention brought to him. Now, mind you, he was adopted by a white family, and his whole entire life changed because he was adopted. Upper middle class family. The kid's entire life could have gone totally different had his own parents raised him. I don't know what the circumstances behind that were. What I do know is he got a life that a lot of people were just very envious of. You know, good mom, good dad, like I said, upper middle class. He works hard. They support him in his ventures to become a football player. He works hard to become a good football player, a good quarterback. He goes to college, gets a college degree, and then he goes into the NFL. Kicks ass and takes names. The kid's doing great. I have no issues with Colin Kaepernick as a athlete or a human being, or the fact that he's mixed race or that he was adopted. I have no issues with anything about him except the fact that he decided in the middle of the national anthem or the beginning of the national anthem, he was going to take a knee because he felt like that was going to get his message across. I'm going to sit here and play devil's advocate for a second. He felt strong about a situation that happened. He felt like that this situation needed national attention. And I get that. We all have something that we stand for, that we would use whatever format we have to get the message across. I'm sure you do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
So he got a lot of backlash for doing what he did, but he stayed true to his guns. He lost his NFL contract, and he played for the San Francisco 49ers, just to let you know where he played for. So
you got jokes.
Do what?
You got jokes. You're funny. I'll give you that.
I didn't know if you knew that.
Funny dude.
I didn't know if you
honestly, if I'm being honest, I did not.
Okay.
I don't watch football. It's not. I'm a horrible lesbian.
And that's oh my God. What does sexuality have to do with watching football?
Most lesbians I know watch football. I mean,
okay.
Most Americans I know watch football.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
So
maybe I'm just a bad American.
So here's
certainly a bad Texan.
No. So what happened was he got a lot of backlash for it. He ultimately ended up losing his NFL contract over it. And then a long period of time went, he wasn't getting picked up by anybody else. Mm-hmm. But he stuck to his guns. Now, here's where I have a problem.
Okay.
Because he did what he did, he portrayed that he was the minority, that he personally was persecuted, that he personally went through these struggles and these things, and he did not. Now, I didn't live his life in his shoes, but what I did know is that a couple of years before that happened, Tim Tebow took a knee to pray before a football game, not during the national anthem, but just before the game. And he happened to get on TV. A camera panned over to him and saw him. He got so much backlash that he was told he cannot do that during national TV. It's inappropriate. Okay. So when Colin Kaepernick did it, it started a shitstorm that was just unheard of. Now you've got every football team, every basketball team, you've got high school kids, college kids, you've got all of these different sports people taking a knee during the national anthem. It's gotten so bad now that the national anthem is racist. It's so bad now that they feel like, okay, so now as the Black community has to have their own national anthem. Now, here's how I feel about this. This is why I want to talk with you about it, because I know you probably have a difference of opinion on this.
You think?
And well, you might, but you might not. So I wanted to bring it up because I'm very passionate about it for a couple of reasons. And I need somebody with a different perspective. And who knows, you may have the exact same perspective I do. Here's what I looked at. Never in our history has anyone ever, to my knowledge, ever said our national anthem was racist. Okay. If you hear the entire song, the national anthem, which is never played at any sports venue, they play a portion of it. But if you do go back and listen to the whole national anthem, when it was written, it wasn't racist. But in our times today, man, you can't get away with saying some of that. Okay, it's not appropriate. I don't think it's racist. It's not appropriate. But they've never played that full national anthem, so they've never broadcast that portion of that song. The part that they do is about freedom and liberty and being a strong country and coming together even when you have hard times. So like when September 11th happened, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what ethnicity you are, what sexual orientation you claim. Everybody came together when 9/11 happened. The national anthem, flag sales, everything just went through the roof. Our country banded together for a national tragedy.
Yeah.
Today, you literally have people kneeling during a national anthem. Okay. Now I do know in the Constitution, you can burn a flag. There's no repercussions for burning a flag. There's no repercussions for stomping on a flag. There are no repercussions to that. Because if I'm not mistaken, that's...
why would it be in the Constitution anyway?
Well, exactly. But my whole point is that there is no repercussion.
There are, in fact, flag statutes. In fact, do you know that it is a violation of flag statute to put a U.S. flag on a T-shirt? Do you know that it's a violation of law? It is. I will send it to you. Napkin. So every 4th of July party you've ever been to with the American flag on a napkin, a cup, whatever, was in violation of a flag statute. Look it up.
So that's why I want to talk to you about this. So when you talk about these things, just like when, like my logo, well, this right here, my logo
is a play on the American flag.
That's right. It's a play on it. Yeah. I can't get the whole flag in there, but you know what I'm representing here.
For sure.
Okay. So it could be looked at like, hey, that's a violation of, you're not supposed to do that. It could be. Okay. When you talk about what Colin Kaepernick did, he started a wave, and I can't even tell you honestly, out of my heart of hearts, I can't tell you what his initial reasoning was for. But I do know that. Don't
you think that that's important though?
No.
To know that before you decide who someone is or what they're made of, you don't even know what their motive is.
So I knew what the motive was, but as soon as all that shit got so out of hand 6 or 8 years ago when it first happened, that it disgusted me, and I had nothing to do with it. I wouldn't watch the TV about it. If they started to talk about it on the news, I'd turn it off. I didn't want to hear anything about it. So it's not that I didn't know. I did know what it was. I don't remember what it is now. But it's
still the same thing.
My point,
police brutality against African Americans. It's still the same thing.
So then you do know what I'm talking about.
Of course I know. I don't know about football, but I know about shit that matters to me. Yeah.
Okay. So when Colin Kaepernick did that,
Mm-hmm.
he got so much. He got more negative than he got positive.
He did.
Okay. Now
y'all were burning Nike. Y'all were doing all kind of stuff.
Oh,
y'all, yeah. Do y'all have anything left? Because y'all burnt some shit.
I don't know.
I mean, I just hope to God that Yeti never comes out and says that they're for Black Lives Matter, because y'all are going to be.
They already have. They did that a couple years ago.
Did you throw away all your Yetis?
I never bought any Yeti. There's no way I'm going to buy a fucking $300 Yeti cup. It ain't. Who's stupid? I ain't stupid. I was never buying into Yeti in the first place.
Okay.
So that don't work on me. But my point is this. So we've discussed football players before. So here's where I stand on this. And I have a lot of friends I've discussed this with for a long time. I think the fact that Colin had such a huge following, I think he could have done better than what he did. I think he could have represented the cause. I think he could have represented himself. I think he could have gone at this in a different form and had the entire country behind him. But I think the fact that he did what he did, the way that he did it, and everybody got an opinion on the military. Well, screw the military. They chose to be there. No,
what does this have to do with the military? Stay on the topic.
The reason that it has something to do with the military is because when you see people stepping on the flag, the military are the first ones to get upset because they defend that flag. That's how they feel, whether it's a truth or whether it's not a truth. That's how they feel. I don't have a single person that I know that was in the military that supported Colin Kaepernick, whether they're black, white, Indian, Asian. It doesn't matter what they were. If they served in the United States military, they were anti Colin Kaepernick for what he did during the national anthem. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying I agree one way or the other. What I am saying is somebody that's smarter than me needs to educate me and let me know why I'm wrong. And here's what I think. Colin Kaepernick, multi-millionaire, got more money than sense. He got one of the largest contracts in the NFL as a quarterback. Okay? He's got more money than sense. Now, we've discussed this before on a different person. I'm not even going to bring him up right now. I feel like with Colin Kaepernick and his position in the world at that time when he did that, I felt like if he would have actually ran TV commercials, started a foundation, done things of that nature, instead of kneeling and isolating half of the country, which is basically what he did. He did not alienate me. He irritated me because he, in my opinion, he disrespected the flag and what the country stands for by not standing up, taking his hat off, and doing this, which he had always done before. But in this circumstance, he felt like that was the way to get everybody's attention. But what he did is he made a divide. And I think he could have done better with that. I think he could have done that without making a divide.
Okay, well, perfect. Then you tell me, just rattle off a couple of things that Colin Kaepernick or other black people could do to raise awareness.
Colin Kaepernick.
Okay, what could he have done to raise awareness to police brutality against African Americans that you would have approved of? Just give me three.
Okay, so the first thing I think he could have done is, instead of kneeling for the flag, I think he could have taken out a 30 to 60-second commercial during his games, during the NFL games.
You know how much those cost?
I don't care. He's a multimillionaire. The NFL would have endorsed him. The NFL did endorse him. The NFL would have paid. The NFL pays billions of dollars for advertising. The NFL also gets billions of dollars from advertisers. So they could have gotten a group of people that have more money than common sense to get behind him properly, in my opinion. They could have ran these ad campaigns just like a politician or just like anybody else that's he would have had, in my opinion, he would have had a lot more supporters and a lot less backlash. And
we're not talking about. We're talking about your opinion and my opinion. The rest of the supporters are irrelevant. But let me ask you this: you mentioned Tim Tebow earlier. So if Tim Tebow had kneeled to pray
Mm-hmm.
during the national anthem. Would you be stringing him up like this?
More than likely, yes. That's exactly right. Because you don't kneel during the national anthem. Tim,
Kevin, you and I both know
you
that
need
most
to do it. I know.
Football family, you know what national anthem time meant? Got to go take a piss before kickoff.
But
that's what national. When you're watching at home,
the game.
So I find somebody kneeling to bring attention to an important matter a little less disrespectful than somebody holding their junk in the can. That's just me.
Well, and that's why I'm talking to you, because I find it very disrespectful. Because you asked me, do I stand and place my hand over my heart when I'm watching TV? And yes, I do.
Does most of the people you know do that?
Everybody that I know watches the games with me in my presence. Everybody does it.
I don't watch football. I don't have football parties, but I've been in like Buffalo Wild Wings or somewhere where there's a game happening. I've never seen anyone, even my father who served in the military, when he was watching the Cowboys play from his lazy boy, he wasn't standing up and putting his heart over it. He just wasn't.
Okay.
And maybe it's different if you're at the stadium in the arena. I don't know. The last football game I went to was an Oilers game. I was like 9, I think. But I did meet Earl Campbell in the Hobby Airport, and it was like the coolest day ever. I met all the Oilers. What was that one guy? The gambler.
Kenny Stabler.
Yeah.
Well,
my mom said he looked like my dad. He had the beard. You remember you look like my dad, yeah.
Oh my God. How does it go sexual? I'm trying to have a serious talk. Okay, but do you not? Okay, so I love it when people talk about, well, he's got so much money. He's got so much money. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your talents and your gifts to good use instead of division. I feel like he could have done that, and he would have had the support. He would have had the support of the NFL.
But why should anybody have to pay $2 million, which is the typical cost of an ad to run during an NFL, particularly a Super Bowl, just to say maybe cops shouldn't kill so many black people? Like, why should any American say, why? I mean, the Constitution does provide us redress to air our grievances. That is in the Constitution. Kneeling during the Star Spangled Banner is not. But protesting, freedom of assembly, all of that. And every time this particular group of people does something, when he kneeled peacefully, you took a problem with it. When people started protesting, you got a problem with it. So
no, I don't have a problem with protest.
So tell me, kind sir.
No, I do not have a problem with protesting.
Stop shooting them. How can they ask that you find appropriate or not divisive? Give them some actual ideas besides spending their hard-earned money to ask for what you get for free. So give some real ideas.
So you think $25 to $50 million is a hard-earned? I don't think that's hard-earned at all. I think there's
You're missing. Okay, this is what you do. You get caught up on a little phrase. Let's go back to his easily gained money. Why should he spend it to pay for an advertisement asking for what you get for free? So if you don't like these ideas that they've come up with, then give them some that you do like. I will write it down and I will submit them on your behalf. So number one, instead of kneeling during the football game, or instead of having protests, but which, by the way, is provided you in the Constitution, here's some things that this guy thinks you should do that would get you more support. So what is it?
First thing is pay for advertisement and go on during the football games. Hey, you want my opinion? Put your money where your mouth is. Just like
it doesn't cost them.
Well, hold on. No, it should cost them. It costs me.
You have to take out advertisements asking the police not to shoot you?
No.
Really? When did you do that?
When I want to do something and get a message across, just like this show or the grind behind me, I paid to do that. I felt compelled.
Comparing police brutality to your motorcycle show?
I'm comparing my want to get a message out. That's what I'm comparing. Now, but here's
the thing that you don't remember, and this is what I do know. He didn't make a big message. He simply kneeled during the game and was asked about it afterwards. He didn't make a whole big political statement.
I know he didn't.
So it's not like it was one of those things. It could have just been.
I'm against what he did. That's it.
For all you know, Kevin, in that moment when it happened, something just came over him. You know, there was a lot of, Philando, there was a lot of people getting killed at that one time. And as a black man, maybe it was so overwhelming. Maybe he actually was praying.
No.
Maybe he dropped to, you don't know. You weren't in his head. So I'm just saying hypothetically. Maybe he did drop. Maybe he was praying for peace. And when he got asked about it by reporters after, that's what he said. You don't know. You don't know what was in his head.
So you're right. I don't.
I hear you and people of your party who tell people shut up and sing. Like entertainers somehow stop being citizens.
See, I don't agree with that either, though.
We start burning people's music. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like they're still citizens. They're still Americans who have a right to voice their opinions. And we don't have to like how they do it. I personally can't stand listening to Ted Nugent. You know what I mean? With his craziness on his little show. But sometimes I tune in because it's such a goddamn train wreck. I'm just like, wow. I used to love Cat Scratch Fever.
I agree with protests. I agree with the marches. I agree with the there's a word for it. I'm not smart enough to remember it. I agree with them everybody getting together. And you've made a couple
peaceful assembly.
Hold on. Mm-hmm. I agreed with peaceful assemblies, but you brought it to my attention. Well, no peaceful assemblies ever gotten anything fucking done. It's taken like the Watts riots. It takes that. Okay, so I agree. Sometimes stuff does get out of hand and violent. But what I've always told you is, why are you attacking innocent people when you are not even going after the people that are causing the problem? We had this conversation in the first show. All I'm talking about right now is I personally think Colin Kaepernick could have done this differently and could have had a lot more support financially so that it didn't get into his $1 million bank account. But I think he could have done it differently. And instead of kneeling and disrespecting the American...
Well, I mean, there's always 15 different ways to do anything. But I'm going to tell you something, and I think it's really going to piss you off.
Well, good.
So, but I love you. I love you. But here's the thing. The whole Colin Kaepernick, Black Lives Matter is a direct response to the heat that man got from your side. All the money and all the stuff that happened with Black Lives Matter after that was because they said, fuck y'all. And they put their money where their mouth is, and they assembled and they got together, and it grew exponentially because it was literally trying to push back the hatred from the right.
Okay.
And it mobilized,
you
motivated people.
Believe in your heart it's only Republicans.
Only Republicans what?
That are pushing on black people.
I think primarily, yeah. I would never say it's. I don't speak in over generalities, like everyone, all of them, all the time. But I would say a majority of the hate that the Black Lives Matter movement receives, and I won't even say from the Republican Party, I will say from Trump supporters, because they are not one and the same.
No, Trump supporters are Trump supporters. I'm a Trump supporter. I got a story to tell you, since we're getting a little bit off topic. This past week, I was at the gym Friday.
Yeah.
I wear red. That's what my work attire is, red. Most of my company t-shirts are red. Red is my favorite color. Has been since I was a little kid. It's always been my favorite color. I'm in the gym. When I'm in the gym, I am one of them very fortunate people that swell really bad when I'm working out. So literally, if you take my arm right now and measure it, it's 16 inches. If I go to the gym and start doing curls for 30 minutes, it'll jump up 1 inch in size because my muscles swell.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. So I'm in the gym and I see this black guy and his wife. I'm going to assume they're in their late 30s, early 40s.
Okay.
He's a very big guy. He looks like he's been eating steroids practically his entire life.
Okay.
Very well maintained. His wife is just a little bit taller than he is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're working out. Well, I keep noticing every time I look up, they're at the piece of equipment across from me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing the red American Drag Seat t-shirt with this logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
My red hat with the I don't know what that logo is. It's the skull with the flag in it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can fucking tell I'm a Trump supporter just because you're assuming. The only thing I'm missing is MAGA on across my chest, but it's everything I'm wearing is red with gray shorts and red shoes. So I'm sitting there working out. He has a black t-shirt on. Can you guess what his t-shirt said? Stop. Don't guess yet. So we're standing there. And every time I go to a piece of equipment, he's like a piece of equipment away. And I'm like, man, what the fuck? And I keep looking at this guy. He's got earbuds in. Okay. So he's messing with his phone. He's videotaping his wife working out. I get it. That's cool. So I'm just sitting there and I'm watching him. After about 30, 35 minutes, I'm just like, dude, I got to say something to this guy, specifically for what his black t-shirt said on it. I walk up to the guy. I tap him on the shoulder. I apparently didn't tap him hard enough because he didn't look up at me. His wife looked at me, and then his wife reached out, tapped him on the hands. He looked up, pulled his AirPod out, looked at me, and I've never seen a human being look at me in fear before. He looked at me and he was genuinely afraid.
Right, because you just walked up on him and you're a stranger. I'd be afraid too.
No, hold on. Remember, I'm wearing all red. I'm swollen. This guy's t-shirt said Black Lives Matter 2. It didn't say Black Lives Matter. It said Black Lives Matter 2. And I walked up to that guy, and this is my God's honest truth, almost in tears. He looked at me and he goes, oh my God, man. I was like, dude, I just want to shake your hand. And he goes, oh my God, dude, I thought you were coming over to, confront me about my t-shirt. I said, no, I came over to confront you about your t-shirt because I think that t-shirt's the badass fucking thing I've ever seen. And he goes, what? I was like, I need you to know I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a conservative. I'm anti-Black Lives Matter in general, but your shirt just spoke volumes to me. And he was like, oh my God. He goes, man, I was so afraid you wanted to come over. I was like, dude, no, I want you to understand something. I want you to understand that the fact that your shirt says Black Lives Matter 2 literally unhardened my heart. And he shook my hand, gave me a hug. His wife hugged me. And she's like, oh my God. I was like, I need for you to understand something before I walk away from y'all. Do not ever be afraid of wearing that shirt anywhere you go. Like I told you before, I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a conservative. I don't believe in Black Lives Matter. I believe in you. I believe in what you're standing for. And I'm here to tell you, not all conservative Trump supporters are anti-Black Lives Matter, because we're not. We just don't want it forced down our throat like every one of us is a piece of shit and don't like you. Because the truth of the matter is, if somebody walked up in this gym and gave you shit for wearing that shirt, I would hit them before you ever had the opportunity to. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, dude, this isn't about fucking Trump or Biden. This isn't about black or white. This isn't about any of that. This is me telling you I'm a human being and I get it. I hear you. And that shirt is why I heard you.
Okay. That's a good story.
That is a fucking awesome story. The fact
that it's a good story.
Afraid of me. He was afraid.
I need you to be really careful, because you just said something that is patently false. Not every conservative Trump supporter would have responded to a Black Lives Matter 2 shirt like you would have.
Most of them, Kevin. You're trying to say that all of us hate black people, and we
that isn't. No, I'm not.
We hate Black
I didn't
Lives
say you
Matter.
hate black people. You have all decided that this organization, Black Lives Matter, is some sort of a terrorist group that's funded by George Soros or I don't even know what the latest conspiracy theory is.
So
but you've
Soros at all? He's not written them any money, paid any money for any of the buses, any of the hotel. He's paid for nothing.
I don't know. I'm not a member of the organization. I don't have access to their books. I don't. So I'm not going to speak on it. And I'm certainly not going to get my news or my information from some fucking meme that indicates that George Soros funds everything, which is apparently where you get yours. Like I honestly don't know. I know I have friends who have donated. So I know that a lot of their funding comes from donations, but I also know that they have partnerships with big corporations who have these, whatever they have, and they're trying to do diversity and, you know what I mean? That's sort of where they're heading. So they've partnered with them in a lot of ways. So could George Soros money have made its way there? Sure. But I'm fairly certain there's some George Soros money in, other places too. There's a lot of everybody's money because there's a whole lot of billionaires right now.
Absolutely, there are
a lot, and from the Koch brothers to all of them, they get their money everywhere. That's going to make them money,
right? But what really upsets me about this is that I do not know a single, not one. I cannot tell you one single friend or acquaintance in the motorcycle industry from dope. I can't tell you anybody that is a Trump supporter or a conservative or a Republican or whatever you're saying. I cannot find one single person in all of the formats and people that I know of that is anti-black people. I can't tell you that.
Okay. And this is what I need you to understand, because you've said this like 55 fucking times. No one has ever said that you were anti-black people. No one has ever said that you're a racist. And Black Lives Matter is not saying that conservatives and Trumpists are anti-black or racist. You know what they're saying? They're saying that your silence is, shut up. They're saying that your silence is the same. It's complicit. When you sit back and do nothing, while black people keep getting killed over and over and over again, and you just accept it as normal, you are complicit. Nobody's saying that you wish these people dead. All they're saying is, why aren't you helping us? Why not? Why is it okay for you to stand and just watch black people killed?
I've never
many of them unjustly.
I've seen it on TV. I've seen news reports. I've seen memes. I know what you're talking about. How do I support that? Do I need to wear a Black Lives Matter shirt?
And once again, I said, I'm not asking you to support black people getting killed. Nobody's saying that you do. But you can stand up when a black man is killed while in the front seat of his car with his daughter in the back while his girlfriend films it. He's a goddamn school teacher. He gets shot on camera. It's broadcast all over the place. You could stand up and be like, you know what? That's fucked up. Instead of looking at every conspiracy theory about what kind of guy he was before this happened, well, y'all dig up these things that have nothing to do with the moment.
How do you stand up for it? What do you do? Do you pay for TV commercials and say you're against it? How do you do that? Do you know
everything to you comes down to commercials? You and I have talked about this before.
So if I'm on my show right now, and let's say we're going to do the national anthem every night before we go live, should I kneel when that happens to support that? To say that I'm anti that? Because I think
I think that you have
to that guy that was afraid of me for no fucking reason and let him know, don't be afraid of me. I'm on your team. I'm on your side. I think that's making a pretty good stand.
I agree, but that's one person. But then online, let me finish a fucking thought. Shut your pie hole. Quit interrupting me. It's rude. You're like fucking Pence. Always interrupting women. I don't get it with you guys. I have no fucking manners. I've met your mother. She taught you better.
Hurry. I want to hear what you're going to say.
The point is that you can you can walk up to a guy in a gym and be like, I respect that. I respect that shirt. And that's huge. And I think it's amazing. And I guarantee you that guy left the gym with his wife feeling more safe than he felt when he walked in. And I guarantee when he left that gym, he went home and he told a couple of his buddies. It made that big a difference. One guy. Now imagine if instead of every time you log on to Facebook or get on your show and you just dismiss everything that you know is wrong, you just don't get into it because you don't want to be controversial. Imagine the impact you could have. We've talked about this. That's why I get on you when you post that nonsense news pretend shit on these memes that nobody seems to fact check anymore. I'm like, dude, people rely on you. I rely on you. When I call you and we have a conversation, I fully expect that you're being 100% honest with me, right? You would never tell me something that's not true. But a lot of people nowadays communicate via social media. So if they see it on your page and they trust you, they trust your judgment. And they're not going to go research it for themselves. They're going to take your word for it. That's the kind of impact. So when somebody, God forbid, I'm sure Trump has done a handful of things you don't agree with. Raw dogging porn stars to be a start. Not the wisest decision a grown man could make, but whatever. But nobody ever calls him out. Call out what's wrong, support what's right for you, and just stand up. That's all it takes. Stand up.
I did.
To one guy. But you don't do it on here. You don't do it online. You post all this nonsense.
Here. I just did it here. Okay, so are you done? Because I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
I love you so very much.
What?
I love you so very much.
And I love you too. I love it that you get passionate. We're here to keep each other in check, but I get it. I get what you're saying. I understand. Do something. Okay. I feel like I do something every day I wake up. I feel like I do something. There's a black guy that I work with that gets treated pretty unfucking fair on a regular basis, and I defend him every single time I'm privy to the situation. I even talk to him and I tell him, hey, look, why do you not defend yourself? He's in fear of losing his job. And he's not losing his job because he's doing something wrong. It's because when you work for a big corporation or a big company, by the time it reaches the person that can fire you, it can be a fucking lie. It can be a total lie. So when I talk to this guy, I ask him all the time, why? Why don't you defend yourself? I would never allow another human being to talk to me like that, job or no job. And if you want me to, I'll go fucking say something in a quick.
Right.
Okay. So just like at the gym. So I want to go back to the gym. So you say that was one person. Okay.
It was. But I'm not trying to diminish the impact because I do think it's important.
So,
and I think that we can all find opportunities throughout our day to do that would make the world a lot better place.
I believe in my heart that 90% of the people that I know do stuff like that daily. But they don't go on a show and tell people they do it. I've witnessed people. That's my whole point, is that I do think people do stuff. I think normal, red-blooded Americans, I don't care what side of the fence you vote for. I don't care. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care where you actually come from. But I think most people support America. Most people support the American flag. Most people support not killing people for no reason. I also believe that a lot of people are like, just like me and some people I know, if you would have shut your fucking mouth and been a little bit more respectful, you probably wouldn't be in the boat you're in.
But that's not always the case, Kevin, and I wish you could grasp that. But what has happened? Here's the thing that people need to get, right? Because for some reason, this narrative has been established that if you support Black Lives Matter, which I do, that you must hate police, which I don't. I have family in the police department. I respect the police department. I hire police officers who have their own businesses on the side to work fire department. That's who does my yard work because they have side businesses. So you can not want innocent Black people to die and support the police and be for a better system for all of us
Mm-hmm.
All at the exact same fucking time.
And
but anytime someone like me goes to a rally, a protest that's totally peaceful, I hate police officers. I'm all fuck the police. I'm like, I've never said once fuck the police. Never. I love the police. But for some reason, and it's not just my side or yours, it's like everybody. So if you're a conservative Trump supporter and you even utter the words Black Lives Matter, right? Then here they come with accusing you of hating the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not fair. Just like it's not fair if I say, you know what I mean? I do believe that they can make improvements to the way we police in America. I do. You and I've talked about this at length.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things that can be done, not defund them, because that was just a bad choice of word, just from a marketing perspective. That just doesn't make sense to me. But there are things that can happen.
So Greg just said,
yeah.
I'll put it up on the screen. Greg being a minority, it upsets him to why it's always Black Lives Matter. It happens to us Hispanic males too.
Right.
Okay. Greg, there's not enough of y'all that's happening to for you to get a vote. Shut up.
I don't agree with that at all, Kevin. I don't think that is a true statement. But let's be honest.
Well, first of all, I was playing with him when I said that. My point is that I don't know why Hispanics haven't stood up and said something. I don't know. I don't know why more white people haven't stood up to police brutality when they're getting their asses whooped, which I can give you a perfect example because I had it happen to me in 1997 for no reason. For no reason whatsoever.
23 years ago. It's still happening to Black people today. Okay.
It's not happening to every Black person because I don't know but one single person it happened to. And I even told him, how did you get through it? How do you walk around? And he goes, man, I just do what I got to do, man. I understand.
Greg had a gun pulled on him in Bel Air. You know Greg. We grew up with Greg.
I know Greg.
Does he look like a dude that's like stashing crystal meth or a dead woman in the back of his trunk?
Hold on, wait. Why did Greg have a gun pulled on him? Where was he? What was he doing? And why were the cops there? Okay, why were the cops even there?
Because he was a Mexican in Bel Air and he looked like he didn't belong there because he was lost and they pulled a gun on him because they thought he was up to something. Because he's brown.
So the simple truth was the fact that Greg was a Mexican, he's brown, and he just happened to be in Bel Air. And a cop was like, oh, Mexican, gun. That's what
happened. A lot of Mexicans in Bel Air, baby.
I'm asking him what happened. Okay. Why did that happen?
All right, I will let him tell the story. See how different it is from mine.
Well, was it a traffic stop? Did he get pulled over as a traffic stop? I don't know what the circumstances were. I mean, fuck, I've had a gun pulled on me too.
What were you doing?
Well, I can give you the whole story. It's kind of funny, actually. I mean, but
no, I don't need the whole story. We don't put that all over the internet. But was the gun being drawn on you justified in some way? Were their fears have merit?
No, there was no reason the cop should have pulled a gun on me.
Right.
I'm white. Why would you pull a gun on a white guy?
Seriously?
No, not seriously. Shut up. No, what happened was I was at a club with a group of friends of mine. There was 4 of us. One of them left, and the other three of us were having to pay our tab. The one that left was a hothead. He took off and went down to the Mercury room. Well, we were all stepped out on the stoop, and he comes running back, and he's already drunk, and he's pissed off. He barrels over the 2 of them. Well, you're not barreling over me. You know that. So I stuck my hand out, hit him in the chest, not hitting him. I just did this.
He blocked him.
My chest.
He blocked him.
He ran into my hand. When we did that, he went for my throat. I reared back to hit him. He tripped, and I punched a police horse in the snout.
Why you gotta hit the horses, though?
I didn't hit the horse. I hit the mic.
I love the horses.
And I nicked the fucking horse, and the cops legitimately pulled guns. And
because you know that horse was a police officer.
I get it 100%. But let me tell you, I had the guns pulled on me, and then I proceeded to get the ever-living fuck beat out of me.
And you don't think that was excessive?
In my personal opinion, you want to know what I did? I just shut my mouth and took it. There's not.
But did you deserve that ass whooping?
No, I didn't deserve it. But what I do know to be a truth, whenever they see two human beings fighting, because we were both white guys. I was 27 years old. When they see two human beings on a public street in front of a bar fighting, do you think the cops are going to take time? Oh, hey, what are you guys fighting about? They're not going to investigate us. They saw us physically fighting, which I never got to hit him. When I went to hit him, he tripped and he was falling. When I swung, he fell. I just went right over his head and I hit the horse in the nose. Horse reared up. Horse came down. Cop pulled a gun on me. Another cop tackled me. Two cops grabbed me, started hitting me, put me on the back of a cop car. You know what I did the whole entire time? Nothing. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. I laid there. I took it. Once they were done, they put me in the back of the cop car. I went downtown. The next morning, I got out of jail, went to court 30 days later. The judge specifically said, what happened? We told her what happened. She leaned forward. She goes, you two get the fuck out of my court.
Out of my court.
So it was a dance.
Greg told you the story in the chat.
Okay. So Greg said, as a minority, I might happen. Very true, Lori. I had a gun pulled on me in Bel Air for me being lost. I was looking for a house and driving slow in the neighborhood. Back in the day, we used paper maps.
I printed out from like MapQuest or something.
I was driving slow and looking for her house. I was going to pick up a girl I met at University of Houston. Okay, so you literally were driving around slowly. I pulled you over and determined that your 5'4" ass was a threat. Pulled a gun on you.
Why you gotta say how tall he is?
How tall he is. I love him to death. He knows I do.
I know, but they could think he's like 6 foot online. He could be living a whole nother life online, man.
Greg, I love you, bro. You know I do. I got nothing but love for you. I know you're on the other side of the fence, and we're good, man. But there's more to that story. They didn't just pull a gun on you because you were driving slow. You had to have gotten pulled over. He had to have asked you questions. Tell me the whole story. I don't want to make he said 5'6". God damn.
That's the one fact you want to make sure gets out there quickly. Is that he is 5'6". You ain't stealing his 2 inches.
I know. Damn it. I'm sorry, Greg. I apologize.
Damn.
But no.
I always knew you were taller than that, Greg.
I always literally thought he was way taller than that. I mean, he's anyway, Greg, I'm just giving you shit, brother. You know I am. My whole point is that just like with every single one of these situations, yes, do I think cops are fucked up? Yes. I don't think it's all of them. I went to high school with a bunch of awesome human beings. There's a couple of them that are fucked up. A couple of them.
A couple of everything that's fucked up. There's a couple of firemen. There's a couple of butchers at the deli at my grocery store that are just assholes. You know what I mean? Like they're everywhere.
Yes.
And they take them into whatever job they have.
So, but
all I
want to know.
But I want to go up here. There was a comment. Oh, I always love the name Dubois. Man, that's such a great French name. Can someone tell me what has BLM done to give back to the community they support? Where does the money go? Who is their spokesperson? All great questions. And I believe you can go to their website and get all the information on all of that. But similarly, what has QAnon done to give back to their community? Where does their money go? And who is their spokesperson? Huh?
QAnon's not real, remember? You already said QAnon's not real.
No, you guys say it's real. So I want to know who's the official. Who's Q?
Do that.
Who is Q?
I have my opinion.
Y'all get so mad when somebody takes a story to the Washington Post and they use an anonymous source. I'm like, the group you quote is literally anonymous. It's baffling.
Hey,
who the fuck is Q?
So did you hear Trump was actually praising the New York Times? I found that to be funny.
They must have said something favorable because he likes them when they say something nice. So he doesn't like he doesn't dislike them. He calls them fake news. And that's the thing. Are they fake news? Are they lovely, wonderful people who tell the truth? Like,
No,
it all depends on how he feels it makes him look, and it's not based on anything other than that.
Yeah.
Well, at all.
Even me, a Trump supporter, I found that funny. I was like,
well, I don't even know what you're talking about because honestly, I was literally at the election office all day. I mean, and all weekend, I just did like a news-free zone. I just couldn't take anymore. So I just did stuff around the house. So I have no idea what they wrote about, what they said, and nothing.
They gave him kudos for something, and he basically praised them. You know, my hometown paper. You know, and I was like, really, dude? Really?
Well, that's a shift, man.
Really? I was like, the fuck? Dude, even you're confusing me now.
But you know, tens of thousands of his supporters went out and bought subscriptions to the New York Times now. I mean, the guy moves market. It's amazing the kind of, I call it Koreshicism because it reminds me of David Koresh, you know, the guy that had the cult. Because he could just get people, or like Jim Jones, like, I'm just going to tell you some shit and you're going to believe it and you're going to do it. And man, if that motherfucker don't have Koreshicism, he got it like in spades. I will give him that. Because he got y'all thinking everything he says is like gospel. He's like, it's baffling to me how the conservative Christian right supports a guy who's cheated on every wife he's ever had. He raw dogs porn stars. Never goes to church other than to kick people out so he can take his picture in front of it with the Bible upside down. Like literally, this is the evangelical like poster child.
You're never gonna get me to dislike that man for being with a porn star. You're never gonna get it. You're never gonna upset me the fact that he got a divorce and he's dated and married hot younger women. That's never gonna upset me. It's never going to upset me.
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the evangelical. You're not exactly an evangelical, sweetheart.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No,
so I specifically said the evangelical crowd. So listen to my words.
No, I was just reiterating to you. I will never be like when they found out that Clinton was getting some loving under the Oval Office.
No, and you know what? To be honest, here's my thing. That is an interest because I've heard this before, and I just want to point out a couple of key differences. They both had affairs. Yeah. Not cute. Not my business though. I don't give a shit. Right? My problem. First of all, we would have never known had Clinton not actually sat for an interview, which Trump refused to do with the special investigator. Trump refused to do. And Trump just keeps lying about it. It's the lying that, because it's like, I can't trust you to just own your shit when you make a mistake. Like the guy has never once said I was wrong about anything.
So I have a question.
And if you can never admit that you're wrong, how do you get better? That's the part I struggle with. So you know what I mean? At least Clinton was like, I was wrong. I did it. You know what I mean? That has yet in 4 years, I have never once heard the man admit to making any mistake of any variety. It's always, we're doing really great. Everything is great.
I get it. I get that. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I need for you to answer this as a parent, honestly.
Okay. I'm always a parent and I'm always honest. So easy, come.
Who's a better parent, Trump or Biden?
I don't feel that I can speak to either of them. I assume you have some position based on what you've gleaned from the media. No. But to me, you can Photoshop a good parent anywhere you want to. I need to spend time in the home and see interactions between Trump and his kids, between Biden and his children. That's how I gauge a parent, not by what version of story their super PAC decides to put out on the advertisement.
So I have an opinion. And I say that.
I say be very careful about judging people as parents because it has shit to do with politics.
No.
And that's the dirty shit that I think we need to all stop doing.
Okay. But If I have to say, just like we were talking about Clinton and Trump, they're
that's
both
the presidents themselves and their behavior.
Yes.
But you start bringing in family, you're going really dirty, and I'm not going there with you. So you
No.
do what you got to do, but I'm staying out of that.
Question.
Which I'm not going to answer.
She said, "I'm not going to. I'm just not going to."
No, because it's not my place to judge what kind of husband Trump is, what kind of parent he is.
But I did not him as a husband.
He is. No, what I said was I made a point from the evangelical point of view, where they're all about family values, and I'm like, how they have gotten behind this guy who never goes to church, who's cheated on all his wives, broken all the vows. Why they get behind him is still baffling to me, because it's the antithesis of everything they've ever claimed to be about. That's my point. I'm not criticizing him. Hey, you get it where you can get it. I ain't mad at nobody for getting it in. Not at all. You know what I mean? You like it, I love it, whatever.
Okay.
My whole thing is
the kids and talk about the Christian side of it then. Okay. So you're questioning the basically the Christians for getting behind him based off of his morals as far as infidelity, the things that he's done sexually, the hookers, the whores, whatever. But you find it troubling that the Christians have gotten behind him.
No, I didn't say troubling. Again, you want to interpret what I'm saying in a different way. I said I find it baffling. In other words, puzzling. Like,
puzzling.
It doesn't compute with me. That would be like, the Democrats suddenly endorsing the head of, BP. Like, they go from the Green New Deal to, embrace fossil fuel. Like, it's just so contrary to everything. That's all I'm saying. And that's what I fear is happening to all of us. Not just the Republican Party, the conservative, the Democratic Party. We have become so bound by party over our commitment to country that it frightens me. And it keeps me up at night. And that's why I did, because I listened to where's Mike? Where's your brother?
He's not watching tonight.
So I did look at that list of stuff, hookers and whores. I've never had to pay for it, but that's a different thing. I'm working with something different. Anyway, the thing that I find that's why I volunteered to go work at the election office today, right? Because I'm hearing all this stuff from, about mail-in ballots and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna do my research. And then I found out that it was open to the public and any of us can go down and see what's really what. So I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I'm going. So I spent 5 hours today at the election office going over this stuff because I wanted to see it for myself. And so I've gotten to this place. My dad used to say this thing: don't trust anything that you hear and only half of what you see, because the hand is quicker than the eye. Mm-hmm. And he used to say that to me when I was a kid. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Mm-hmm. But I get it now. So half the stuff I see out there from wherever, doesn't matter, CNN, NBC, Fox, don't matter. I'm going to literally go down the rabbit hole and look at every sort of obscure place I can find to come up with my own conclusion. I don't buy anything that anybody's selling. And that's, I think, the part that's gotten really scary is we've stopped trusting one another. You know what I mean?
I don't think we've stopped trusting one another. I think there's just a huge divide right now. And I think
because of one guy.
Well, no.
Do you remember anybody getting this tribal over Mitt Romney? Seriously?
So, no, I don't remember any time being this bad in life, ever. Mm. But I do know for a fact it is all being blamed on one man. Whether it's the COVID, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's Antifa, whether it's burning down cities, whether it's sending in the National Guard, everything, ironically, is getting blamed on Trump. Maybe you personally don't, but the general consensus.
Well, no, I think that you're misreading, because I've been hearing about this divide since 2012. And every time I talk to a member of the Republican Party, I always hear that the reason we're so divided is because that little black man that used to be in the White House. That's what I hear. That's the story I get, that we didn't have this kind of racial tension before Obama. That's what I hear. I saw it. In fact, what's it? Sandy no, not Sandy. Somebody we went to school with posted a meme today with a picture of Obama in office doing something, and like, this is when the disrespect started. Like they've literally tried to link the race, this sort of racial division in our country and blame it on Obama. And I'm like, I don't get it. But I do remember the very first time I ever watched, a State of the Union speech by a president. It's not the first one I had watched, but it's the first one I had watched where a member of Congress actually yelled at the president during that, "You're a liar." That's, I think, when this disrespect started. I'd never heard that. There was always such decorum in that house. And then from that point, and then it just got steadily worse. And now, you got Nancy Pelosi ripping up speeches. I mean, it's just like there's such a lack of professionalism and just basic decency on all sides. And see, that's the thing that I wish more people would do, because I can look at my party and say they're flawed and they have made bad choices and they have done bad things. But I don't ever hear you say it, or very many people of your party who will acknowledge that Trump has lied more than he should.
I don't know a single Trump supporter that hasn't said those exact words. Man,
I've never heard you say the words that we talk about it all the time.
There are memes out there all over Facebook. I didn't elect that.
I have never heard you say it, and we talk about politics 3 times a week.
Let me tell you this right now. I do not, nor will I ever, support every fucking thing Trump says or does. I won't do it.
Do you ever stand up and point out that it's wrong?
No.
Right.
Because I don't hardly ever stand up and point out what anybody does wrong. That's calling the kettle black.
You have posted so many memes,
honey,
bashing the Democratic Party, but you never, and calling them out on lies or this or that. I mean, we had a whole conversation about Burisma and Hunter Biden and this because of something you read, but you don't ever ask the same questions about Trump. It's like whatever he does, it's okay. And I think we've all gotten to this place where there's like a double standard. It's okay for my guy, but not your guy.
So
and it's not just on your side.
That whole thing where I can call my sister a bitch, but you can't.
I mean, I don't know that it's like that. I think
that's exactly
no.
what it is.
I don't think so, because here's what I think we lost. We lost the sauce, as they say, right? When we voted previously, it was about voting for people who had the same idea for this more perfect union, right?
I don't do them anymore. She has fucking scalded me enough. I stopped doing them, Greg. Kissed my ass, but I learned my lesson. I have a question. I don't want to interrupt you, but I don't want to forget this. So do you know when this shit actually started? When all of this division and all this disrespect and all this hatred? I can tell you exactly when it started.
Sure, go ahead.
The early 60s. That's when it actually started. Let me tell you why. My grandmother's 101 years old.
Mm-hmm. You don't think it started back when white people owned black people? You don't think it started then in slavery?
I'm not talking about.
You think they totally got over it and then?
Hey, fucker! I'm trying. Don't interrupt me.
Okay.
Listen to me. Then you can say that. You keep wanting to defend something. Let me say it. Okay. I think the disrespect from side to side and party to party.
I'm going to have another shot.
Get it. Listen to me, though. I think the disrespect in our country started in the early 60s, if not the late 50s. What I mean by that is my grandmother being 101 years old. Did you know that my grandmother in her entire life, even when she was in a hospital bed at 99 years of age, I've never not seen my grandmother proper. My grandmother gets up every day, makes an effort to put on clean clothes, do her makeup, and look presentable. At some point in time, people have lost self-respect. Stop doing that. You've got kids today that have been going on for 20 years. You got kids today and that's how they're going to be dressed all day. They don't even respect themselves. How do you expect them to respect somebody else? So where you and I sit now, we're having a show talking about the division in the country, the division, bringing up a thing like Black Lives Matter and the injustice from police officers to them. But you've got two sides, Biden versus Trump, left versus right, liberal versus conservative. We lost the respect in the late 50s and 60s, and it's progressively gotten worse because a lot of people don't respect themselves. So why would they respect someone else or someone else's opinion? I respect you because I feel like I was raised that way. I hear what you have to say. Even if I don't agree with it, I'm hopefully going to learn something from it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I think. I think that's when we lost the respect, and it's just taken 50 fucking years to get worse.
Okay, well, here's where I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I do not agree with you.
Okay.
I personally don't. I'm not of the school of thought that your self-respect should be measured by what you decide to wear to the grocery store. I just don't. I think my respect for you is wholly connected to how you treat me and the respect you give me. Because I ain't gonna tell you think I put makeup on and get all dressed up every time I want to make a run up to Kroger? I do not.
So let me ask you
I'm tired. And,
okay.
If you even try to imply that I have a lack of self-respect, I will tell you to eat your own asshole because it's just not true.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you a question. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
So let's say you being
I'm not even wearing I'm not wearing makeup right now. Does that mean I have no self-respect?
But listen to me. So let's say right now, you have to go to the doctor. Okay. And in the doctor's office, the doctor said, the receptionist says, hey, look, the normal doctor's not here today, but go into room number 3 and we're going to send in the physician's assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Physician assistant comes walking in with green, purple, teal hair, piercings all over her nose, all through her ears, tattooed face. Are you telling me respectfully you trust that person and you respect them instantly? You're going to trust your child to them? Because it's not about whether or not you put makeup on.
Wow.
Just tell me.
Somebody in the motorcycle industry judging people for multicolor hair, tattoos, and piercings? That's risky.
No. Hold on. You didn't.
Or is it only acceptable in your profession and not in a position?
I've got a couple of tattoos, but my face is not tattooed. I'm telling you, when you see a doctor, you have a preconceived notion of what a doctor looks like. You've been going to a doctor your entire life. When you take your child in and you don't see a doctor that looks like a fucking doctor and you see someone that looks like a clown, I'm not opposed to them dressing that away. I'm not judging them from dressing that away, but I'm asking you, do you instantaneously give them the same instant respect that you would give a normal doctor, that what you're used to seeing? I don't disrespect them. I don't have an issue with it at all.
I mean, it's a hypothetical. I mean, I have so many friends that look the way you just described. I don't know that I would find it as shocking as you seem to think I would.
No, I'm saying, I asked you a question.
I mean, granted, my kid's pediatrician is a woman in her 50s. So if someone other than her walked through the door, I might be surprised. But I think, I'm weird. I'm a believer in education. I trust science and I trust doctors, which is why I mask up and stay home. So if they have a degree that tells me that they know what they're doing, I'm not going to let my bias because they chose to have purple hair deter me.
That's not what I asked you.
You asked me if I would respect them. Yes, I respect the fact that they had to go to school a very long time to become a physician's assistant. Very long time.
Okay. So you have no physical bias whatsoever then?
No, I mean, I've had too many shots. Who's the skin people? The skin people.
I don't know who skin people are. What do you mean?
The skin doctors, dermatologists. My dermatologist has like 5 earrings, has a cute little earring, like piercing here. It doesn't bother me.
So
my best friend has dermal. She has like literal piercings down her chest.
Right here. I get it. Yeah. My point is that you tell me physical appearance.
I just told you, and you don't believe my answer. You don't like my answer because it doesn't comport with what you thought it should be. So, but no, I don't judge people by what they wear, how they dress, what they do, what they drive, how much money they have. That's not me.
Honestly, judge people before I meet them. If I physically see
when you see a black guy, do you judge him?
Nope. But if I see a great big
white person with a piercing.
Wait, hold on. Let me say this. If I see a great big, huge, tattooed up biker in leathers, no shirt, hairy shoulders, in a vest, and I see him walking up to me sternly, I'm fucking judging. I ain't gonna lie. I'm judging him.
Mm.
If I see a cop walk
isn't that your customer base though?
No, and you're taking this. Wait, you told me a couple weeks ago you just want people to be accountable. I'm being accountable. I'm telling you, if I went to my doctor and I saw what I thought was a clown, I'm judging. I am physically judging whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. I do, but I do not judge a black person coming up to me in my neighborhood and be like, "Oh shit, they're gonna rob me." I don't do that. But when I go to a doctor, when I go to get my car worked on, I've got it in my head what a mechanic looks like, or what a doctor looks like, or what a karate instructor looks like, or what my friend Lori looks like. If you came on here next week bald with a mohawk, I'd be like, what the fuck you do? But I'm not judging you. I'm questioning you. So when I say that, I'm being honest with you. Yeah. I'm not judging their character.
Well, and that's fine. And I mean, I applaud your honesty and your desire to be accountable, but I don't join you there because I've lived in California. I've lived in New York. Weird hair, piercings, and tattoos is every fucking day. I work in the entertainment business. You know what I'm saying? So none of it is shocking to me and none of it makes me judge you.
Okay.
But that's because you've lived in Houston your entire life. I have been exposed to spiky haired Mohawks in Germany. You know what I mean? Like my life is different.
Yeah.
So I view people through the lens of experience that I've had.
Yeah.
I don't blame you for the one you have, but I also don't have to have the same one you have. No, and I don't.
You to have my opinion. I'm not. Yeah. That's the cool thing about this show is you don't have to have my opinion.
No, because we know that we rarely do.
I respect your opinion.
Sure.
I do. We have a difference of opinion. Yeah. I am like I said with my grandmother. My grandmother is the type of human being that it doesn't matter where she's at, what the era is. My grandmother gets up every morning and what she deems, what I deem.
I agree with you, Albert.
Very, very presentable. You know, I don't know anybody else that does that at all. I don't know anybody that gets up and gets dresses to the nines. I just don't. People don't do that anymore. You know?
No, you know, it's funny. We talked about that the other day because, you know, my mother lives with me. She's 72, right? And we were having a conversation because, you know, before COVID, I traveled all the time. You know what I mean? And I often take the red eye because because I'm one of those that can fall asleep on a plane. I do know everything, damn it.
I don't think he's talking to you. I think he's talking to me.
You know everything too. Everything is wrong that you know, but you know it.
Shut up.
But anyway, I found this fascinating. I was talking to my mother because I always take the red eye because I can fall asleep before the plane even takes off. Like I get in my seat, I get like priority boarding, I get all the way to the window, I get my little pillow, and I'm out before the plane even takes off, and I can sleep through it, right? So I want to be really comfortable. So I'm wearing like sweatpants, tennis shoes, you know what I mean? Like the whole thing. And my mom, we had a conversation about it because one time I was flying in to Texas. I was flying into Houston from LA. And this was like 15 years ago. And I came through the airport. I had on like clothes, but I had on slippers because it was late and I was tired. You know what I mean? And I got off the plane and my mother's like, what in the hell? You do not travel in fucking slippers. Like, you would have thought I brought more shame on the family because I didn't dress up to take a flight. And then I remember back to when I was younger, and the few flights, we didn't fly a lot because we didn't have a lot of money. We drove to like Dallas or Austin, but we didn't do a lot of flying. But whenever we did fly, we always put on very nice, like our Sunday clothes almost. You know what I mean? Like our church clothes. Like we were always dressed properly. And that was a thing. And I do recognize that we don't do that anymore. But it's also a lot of work, particularly for women. Like that's a lot of work.
So what would you do? Because I already know you don't like Trump. But hypothetically.
I didn't like Trump before he became president. I didn't like Trump 20 years ago.
So hypothetically.
When I lived in New York.
You've said many times that our president needs to act like our president. He needs to be better than that. How would you feel if Trump came in, tattoos, piercings, wearing sleepy pants and slippers and you know, no shirt, and had spiky green and purple and pink hair? How would you feel about it then? Would it be appropriate or not appropriate?
Listen, I would feel about it the same way I would feel about it if my mother at 72 decided to come home and do that. Bitch, you've lost your mind. You are 72. Go sit down in the old folks' home and stay away from the hair dye.
But the doctor you're taking your kid to would not have that same
effect.
Well,
if the doctor's 30 and has a degree, that's different.
That. 70. Your initial responses, like, go sit down, go do something.
If Trump, the Trump that I know, right, all of a sudden tomorrow shows up on Fox News with a mohawk, I would think he's lost his mind. Yes. Had he campaigned as a purple mohawk having dude, you know, okay, you're a cool octogenarian. I get it. But you don't wake up one day and just change your whole appearance. You were talking about a doctor who I've never met before. Coming in, would that be shocking? But if my own mother or somebody that I'm used to seeing in a very specific way woke up one day and had changed their entire appearance, I would think that they might need some psychiatric or medical help, yes, including my mother.
Okay, so what my point behind asking you that, whether it was a good example or a bad example is my point was society, not one person, but society in general has lost their fucking mind. I know it because of my grandmother, because I look through picture books. You know, my grandma and grandpa used to go to the beach, and my grandpa would be wearing, you know, one of those Stacey Adams shoes with the big old pleated pants and a wife beater on that was pressed with his Kango hat or whatever that's called. He would go to the beach like that.
Fedora.
They took so much pride in their appearance and what people thought of them. And unfortunately, back then, whether it was right or whether it was wrong, they always said, what you portray is what people are going to think about you. I think since the late 50s, early 60s, people have stopped caring what people think about them. And I think, unfortunately, the repercussion or the fallback of that is we've gotten a lot of divide. There's still guys like me. I really don't care how someone dresses. In my presence, like with my son, I don't care if you want to sag your pants all day, wherever you go. But in my fucking presence, you're not going to disrespect me like that because I find it to be disrespectful. It's untasteful. Right. Pull your pants up. But it doesn't mean that I'm going out and I'm judging everybody because I see one of my great friends, Marl Wills, with a fucking 4-foot tall purple mohawk. I love him for it. I love him for his individuality. I'm going to be talking about that because in high school, I had a fucking king mullet, drove a Trans Am.
Oh, you sure did.
And wore black eyeliner every fucking day and played football.
Yeah,
I can't judge people for being.
You were something special.
I was special. I just look like somebody's dad now, you know. But my point is,
because you are somebody's dad now,
for what they want to do individually. But I'm just saying, I think at a certain point in time, society has lost respect for what others do think about themselves.
Right, but here's the thing. Here's where I'm at. I'm at a point in my life. I'm almost 50, right? And I've been 19. I've been in my 20s. You know, I've done the whole, you know, sell the story. You know what I mean? Do a little embellishment. I'm not a hypocrite, dude. I was very clear. If my mother came home with a purple mohawk, I'd throw her in a home too. And I love her.
Yeah, I love her.
I do.
Okay.
My thing is I don't understand why any of us would put our party before our country. You know what I'm saying? And that's what feels to me like a lot of it is happening. Like we are willing to sacrifice our basic freedoms and things that we know to be right and good and just for the sake of our guy winning. Because winning has become more important than America. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it feels like to me. Like it's all like, this is my guy and this is my guy. And we're angling for the win, even though we're not going to do any of us any good.
It's not at this
point.
And
that's, I think, my biggest problem. And that's why I've started educating myself by going to the election office. I want to see that absentee ballot come in. I want to see where it goes. I want to watch the whole thing. And I did that today. It was fascinating. I haven't blamed Trump for anything, Brian Barber. Why do you see? Did he learn from you? Just put words in people's mouth.
I can't hold on. So I can't tell what the hell Albert's going. I don't know what he's talking. I don't know who they're talking about. Brian said, and there you go.
It means you're available in prison. What?
Your pants sagging. That's what that means.
I've never been to prison, so I don't know that to be true.
Well, I
know.
Have
you been to prison?
I know a couple of people that have been to prison, and they've told me that's what that means. So I'm going to have to believe.
I thought it was because that they didn't give them belts, so their pants sagged in prison because they weren't allowed to have belts because they were worried about hanging and using them as weapons. That's what I was told.
No.
But again, I don't hang out in prison.
So I
just want us to be like, I love this country. My father bled for this country. You know what I mean? He was buried with 4 bullets still in his body from Vietnam War. So I'm a patriot first.
Albert works. He's a prison guard. So Albert says that's true. Sagging means.
So it is how they determine that they're single, that they're available and looking, is if they wear saggy pants, not because of a belt. All right, dude. Do boys really have to work? I mean, isn't everybody in prison available? I mean, seriously.
Shut up.
No, I mean, I've never been. So I mean, I think if you're there, you're kind of available. No, am I wrong?
No, shut up. No. I can tell you now. Shut up. No. You have to stop, Lori.
I mean, you know, you're in prison.
I love you.
I love you more. More.
Only because you're drinking.
No, I love you all the time. I'm only drinking because, like, my throat was really sore today. So I'm like, oh, you know what? A shot of whiskey would be good. I don't know what he's saying hell no way wrong to. Albert, can you please just tell us what you're trying to say? Because we're trying to guess and we suck at it.
Yeah, we do.
He works out of prison. We should listen to what he says saggy pants mean because he knows. That's what I'm saying. Not from some story we heard from this one or that one. He works at one right now. Yeah. Albert, what does saggy pants mean? Please tell me. Like, don't do like a 2-word answer. Like, tell me specifically what it means. I want to know. Don't you want to know the truth and not be spewing all nonsense?
The truth. I just need for Albert to say it. He's not saying
there we go. About everyone being available. So, everyone is available. It's not true. Not everyone's available. Mike Campbell. Where'd Mike Campbell?
Here's his comment.
Maybe it's not our party that we are worried about. Maybe it happens to be the best choice because we do care about America. Okay, this is an excellent comment, and this is what I have questions about. So, what I would like to know is why. Because, this is, I think, where the disconnect is. I am looking around our country. We've lost 30 million jobs. Right? Not saying it's his fault, but why is it assumed that Trump has done a great job? for the country. I would just like some actual tangible examples, things that he's accomplished, things that he's done that is being held up as this great thing. I would just like to know what they are, because I am not seeing them. Maybe I'm not watching enough Fox News. I don't know. I do watch it, but can you just give me a list of what they are, Kevin?
So here's my opinion on this. Yes, we've got 30 million jobs that are over with. They're done, right?
Yeah.
It's COVID's fault we have 30 million jobs, people losing their jobs because they've shut down so many restaurants, so many businesses, so many things. They've just gone out of business. People have lost their jobs because they're having to be quarantined. That's a truth. Whether you want to believe it, that's true. Now, take the COVID out of it. The unemployment rate was less than it has been in a long, long time. Am I going to give it to Trump that he fixed that? I don't know. I'm not a economist or whatever they're called. There's so many pieces to this puzzle. Do I 100% believe we have the highest unemployment rate ever right now under Trump's presidency? Yes, I do. I believe that. Do I believe it's Trump's fault? Fuck no. I believe it's COVID's fault. That's what I believe. I believe everybody shutting their businesses down and not being able to keep going with the stimulus packages or whatever it is. I just believe that's why the number is that high.
Okay. But I mean, COVID happened in the very last year of his presidency. So let's go back. I am drinking Wild Turkey American Honey chilled, and it is delicious. I keep it in the freezer till I'm ready to have one. It's lovely on the throat. It's very, I was wanting to try one, and I was going to get, I was going to get Jack honey. And the guy's like, he's like, I got to tell you, try the Wild Turkey. I'm like, really? Because, I was a little judgy about the Wild Turkey. I'm not going to lie. It's hard to follow the comments. Oh, the Texans. Don't get Kevin started on the Texans. He refuses to watch the Texans.
I ain't even watching them. But I have a good reason for not watching the Texans. And it's my personal.
Here's the thing. This is my point. You don't have to have a good reason. Your reason is your reason. And it doesn't matter if it makes sense to me or to the rest of the fucking world. I firmly 100% support anyone's reason to support or oppose anything. 100%. So if you don't want to watch them, don't watch them. Yeah. And I don't have an issue with the reasons you don't want to watch them. The whole point of what we do is to talk about different perspectives. I have a different perspective. I am not a football fan. So me saying I'm never going to watch NFL again, I mean, I could say that it sounds super dramatic, but it's a little disingenuous because I don't watch it to begin with. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I could easily go on the Polaritions.
I think he meant politicians. He even said in his next comment, sorry, I can't spell. I think he meant politicians.
And what it is that supposed to be foreign affairs?
Hold on. It says, I look around our country all the time, at the politicians that have done nothing but try and kick Trump out of office. When Trump has set foreign affair issues for the better, he has made better trade deals. He has made this economy so strong. I own 2 small businesses, and through all this, I'm busy as hell. Unemployment has zero to do with Trump. If it wasn't for COVID, unemployment would be even lower than it originally was. We were rolling. And he does. He owns 2 really, they're not really small, but they're small businesses. And he said, I would say, sorry, I can't spell. Then he laughs and does something else.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I was reading it right.
Yeah.
But
they've spent a lot of time. Whatever side, I don't care. Politicians have spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to get him out of office since the day he was elected. It's a truth. It is what it is.
I'm not disagreeing.
To fight that fight is irrelevant. There's nothing you and I are ever going to do.
No. But I think the point. And here's the thing. And I don't ever want us to lose sight of the reason we do this, because our goal here was never for you to convince me. Yeah. To be a Trump supporter, for me to convince you not to be a Trump supporter. The whole point of what we do, because at the end of the day, whatever happens in a month, whatever happens in 4 years, these guys are going to be gone. But we still have to live on this rock together. We still have to figure out a way. Thanks, Albert.
You need a bag of dicks, Albert.
I don't think that we have to agree.
No,
but we have to find a way to say, okay, I disagree with you on this. Here's why. And that's one of the things, because I've learned so much from my conversations with you about why you feel the way you do. You know what I mean? And that's why, I don't know if you've noticed, because you've given me zero credit. I don't even post like Republican mouth breathing troglodytes anymore. I don't even say that stuff, right? I don't say it because I know it's not true and it's not fair. It's not kind. So I can listen to your perspective and be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from better, which makes you more human to me. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, what we have to stop doing is looking at each other as blue, red, conservative, liberal, and go back to looking at each other as our friends and our family and the people that have shown up for us day in and day out. You and I have been friends 30 years, more than 30 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I know that no matter who I vote for, no matter how many times I go on social media and tell Trump to eat a bag of dicks, if I call you tomorrow and I need help, you show up.
Yeah.
And I think we just have to keep showing up for each other and put some of that up. I mean, have your politics. Vote for who you want to vote for. That's the point of it. But at no point should we let it come between us and the people who have been part of our tribe for this long. That's the thing that makes me so sad. You know what I mean?
If everybody really wanted to get well, I've got to be the most right. If everybody really wanted to go all the way back, man, you got to go back to the beginning of time, all the way back to the Egyptians to discuss racism and discuss slavery. We're beyond all that. That was a time that's so far gone. It's not funny. What we're trying to do now is make it go away in the future. We're trying to make a better future. And right now, it seems like, no offense, everybody's just making a worse future. It's just there's too much.
I feel very much the same way. I think we've become so tribal. It's us versus them. And I think that it's a dangerous place right now for people like you and me who can find common ground with the other side. You know what I mean? It's like we're almost being forced to choose, and I refuse to.
Yeah.
I refuse to say my party is more important to me than 85% of my family, the people that I've known since the day I was born. You know what I mean? And most of them are Trump supporters. And you know what? They're amazing fucking people, and they are patriots. They have a different idea of what a more perfect union would look like, which makes sense because they have a different existence than I do. I am a gay woman with 2 children I adopted. So for me, there's more at risk. You know what I mean? And I vote accordingly. They have a very different structure, and they vote accordingly. And we all, at some point, on some level, vote with our wallet. We want what's going to be best financially for us and our family, because in this country and in most countries in the world, really, cash is king.
Baby, you can be the president, and I'll be your vice president. We're going to fuck the country straight up. All I know realistically about the country is everybody wants the same goddamn thing. I know that.
But I don't know, and I want to respond to. Hold on a second. I want to respond to Gary Dubois. Yeah. No, I want to be very specific about something. Trump does not scare me. Trump, and let me say this as clearly as I possibly can, unequivocally, Trump is not the problem. Trump is what we get from the problem we have. And the problem we have is that we no longer think as Americans. We think as members of a party, and we've put whoever is in this office. We did it with Obama. We were doing it with Trump. Like, we're not a democracy or a republic anymore. We've become like this fucking fiefdom where we're all worshiping at the altar of whoever sits in the Oval Office, forgetting the one simple fact that they are a civil servant and they work for us. We've stopped making them work for us. And it's like we've forgotten. That's the part that scares me, is the American voter, the American citizen has forgotten their own power, and they've essentially relinquished it. They don't vote. I told you today, I was at the elections office overseeing absentee ballots. There were so few. I mean, it's open to anybody. But I mean, there's nobody there. I mean, there were a ton of people lined up to vote. You know what I mean? But to be part of the process, and what I told you I was afraid of is happening. Most of the time at elections, it's old people who go and get their little $15 an hour to work the polls, but they're not coming out now because they're afraid of COVID. So now what you have is a shortage of poll workers, which means lines are getting longer in every precinct, in every neighborhood. Fewer people are going to wait in line to vote, which means that fewer people have the power of democracy behind them. And that's the part that scares me. When we let the people in power stay in power too long, that they can then change it to the fact that they can never lose power, we should all be afraid. And it's not one guy. It's not Trump. It's not, but it's us. We, the electorate, are uneducated. We are unmotivated. We are the problem. And that is what scares me. Boom. I'm out.
So even like me today, I walked straight in. I was the only guy in there voting. When I got in there, I was halfway through doing my vote, and then all of a sudden there was a big line of people coming in. I was like, what the hell?
I think it depends on where you're at.
Well, I know for a fact that there's been lines out the door every single day, but I can only do stuff like this on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
I have things I have to get done. But, the funny thing is that I guarantee every single person that's watching right now, every single person that's commenting right now would love you to death, and you would love them. Because
of course, I love them anyway.
Are the people, and you can see them. Pretty much every one of them has said the same thing.
Here's the thing that I've always said: disagree with me all you want, but don't disrespect me and don't call me names. I don't respond to the libtard bullshit. Like, if you disagree with me, tell me why, because I might learn something from you.
Yeah.
But the minute you start calling names, people like me stop listening. Well, and if we stop listening, there's no way to reach across. You know what I mean? So, like, we have to stay engaged. We have to listen. And that means just showing a little bit of respect. Don't do the easy. Don't fall to the whole name calling, like, oh, I know you are, but what am I? And like, it's so fucking juvenile, and we are better than this. That's my dude right there. I love you, boo. Hi.
Hey, guess what, Greg? You ain't got a chance, homie.
You don't, but I love you anyway.
But my point is that every single person on here feels probably the same way you do.
Exactly, and that is the point of this show. Because as much as we vote differently, we want genuinely what's best for this country and what's best for us and our families. So we all want to live in peace. We all want to be prosperous. You know what I mean? Like, I think on 90% of the things in life, we all want them.
Yeah.
But we fight over these few little things. Do you know what they are? You know, like the three things that we fight about?
No.
I can tell you what one of them is.
What?
Abortion.
Yes,
That's
do.
one.
We're going to keep fighting.
Pro-life versus pro-choice. You can't be both. Blah, 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 blah.
Unfortunately, you can be both.
Religion. We fight about religion.
You can't fight religion with me.
I don't understand the point of fighting religion. I mean, if we can't all get behind the fact that on this planet there are so many varying religions that all kind of say the same thing, like, I don't even know why we're fighting about religion. I mean, I recognize that there can't be just one, and I'm okay with that. I think if you get out of bed every day and you don't have faith in something, then what is the point? I personally don't think you have to call that something God.
Yeah.
I think that it is open to you, whatever. But if I don't have something guiding me morally, something that's saying I know what's right and what's wrong, and I know, you know what I mean? Like that's why I put my feet in front of one another every morning, because of my faith. You know what I mean? I just don't call it the same thing you call it.
Well, see, a lot of people that I know, and I'm not going to say anybody's name.
No, we don't name names here, but y'all know we talking about y'all.
I know a lot of people that have conviction. You know, you have conviction. I have conviction. We all have conviction on different things. Different things mean stuff. Just like the whole conversation started with Colin Kaepernick. He had a conviction. Okay.
He did.
That's what put him where he is. He has to deal with the repercussions of his choices in life, no matter what.
He's dealing with them. He's dealing with them.
But I'm not talking about that. But no matter what they are, he has to deal with his own repercussions. Just like my 7-year-old, he does stupid shit. He gets stupid prizes. That's the way life works. I'm teaching him, you make decisions, you make choices, you live with those choices. You have to understand that. But what I think actually is going on in this country, and it reaffirmed it to me when I was in the gym Friday.
Right.
Everybody actually cares about everybody.
We do.
And that guy.
We forget that. And I think it gets lost on social media. That's the problem, because I think a lot of us, and I know me, when I would post nonsense memes that were really disrespectful and insulting to people on the right, it was more to show off to my left-leaning friends what a good ally I am. You know what I mean? And I never really looked at it as if I was speaking personally to my friends on the right until it happened in reverse. You know what I mean? And we've talked about this. When I saw something, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a liberal, but I'm not a fucking pedophile. You know what I mean? Like when you start doing shit like that, it puts things in perspective. So now, anytime I see something and it's political in nature, and it's I won't even post something that says Republican or Democrat. I'm all like, I don't care who you vote for. I love it. It's all about how you treat me, because it doesn't matter. To me, at this stage in my life, it doesn't matter. But I do know people for which that is not the case, because part of their sort of ethos is that, how can you say you love me but vote for the things that cause me pain? You know what I mean? And they cannot reconcile the two things, which I get. You know, but when I came out, my mother wasn't like, "Oh, yay, I have a lesbian daughter." It took a long time, and some things were said that were hurtful. But I cannot continue to hold a grudge. She did the best she could with what she had at the time and what she knew, and the history she grew up with. And I'm doing the same. And I feel like every day I get a little wiser and a little bit more tolerant and a little bit more respectful. And at the end of the day, I want to spend the rest of my life loving my friends, loving my family, in a world that is kind and good. I want the world I raised my kids in to be the world that I saw after Harvey.
You know what I want our world to be?
If you say Planet of the Apes, I'm going to punch you in the face.
I want our world to be
Star Wars.
I want our world to be that world that says, "Hey, man, I got your back." Like when you were in high school, and you were about to get in a fight, you wanted a group of friends that were like
somebody challenged you to go to the bridge, and all your friends show up. You're like 10 deep. You're like, I ain't alone.
To be that, I got your back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're never going to have it, because we have bad people in this world that we can't control. That we have.
But you know what? I believe that hope, and I believe that kindness are contagious.
They are.
And I feel, and that's the whole reason why I wanted to do this show with you, is because we do disagree, but we do not disrespect each other. And at some point, we always find something, some common ground, you know, some way that we connect. And I think if other people say, "Oh, you know what? I love this little fucking liberal over here, even though he's voting for Biden. He's one of the coolest dudes. He always shows up." You know what I mean? Like, if people can remind themselves of the decency in others and put the party shit aside, put the politics shit aside, because in a couple of months, this is all going to be over. I'm not saying it has to be unicorn. You know what? You're a goddamn buzz killer. Go away.
That's my motorcycle best friend.
I know. I hear you say his name all the time when we talk on the phone. Fuck you, Brian Barber. You can never have too many unicorns or rainbows, just so we're clear. I'm going to jump on a unicorn wearing a rainbow and assless chaps. That's how I'm going to Pride.
If you ever met Brian,
I'd love it.
Oh, Jesus Christ, y'all would be fucking. I'd be like, well, I just lost two friends. What the fuck?
Because we would just start talking to each other and ignore you.
Y'all, yeah, exactly. Y'all would. Brian even noticed. He's like, oh, this is a shot show. Where's my shot? Bring me on. I'm here to drink.
I have a shot every single time I'm on air. I don't know what Kevin's deal is. Because the whole thing was supposed to involve cocktails.
Okay,
because they said you should never discuss booze or politics while drinking, and we're like, well, we're rebels, so we're definitely fucking doing that. Then I show up every week with a drink, and you show up with like, oh, I got a Diet Coke or whatever fucking you're drinking.
I keep trying to.
I mean, oh God! I'm like, oh, what do you got? A tab?
Okay, we've been on here almost 2 hours.
We gotta go.
And you said we'll make this one short tonight. Yeah,
I know, because I'm so tired from the election. But let me just say this, guys. If you have any doubts about your mail-in voting, please, please, please. In most states, it is a public option. You can show up and you can watch. You can monitor the absentee ballot process. And in some cases, you have to adjudicate, which is what I'm doing, which you have to sort of look at the ballot. If the scanner says, oh, we don't know what to do, then a Democrat, a Republican, and an independent have to look at this one ballot and see if they can determine the intent of the voter. So your voice matters. You have a way to be involved in the process. Don't believe all the bullshit that's being spread out by both sides. Go do the research, find out for yourself. We can all make a difference. Love you. Really do. This is one of my favorite shows, by the way. Please get him drunk because he's so fucking uptight.
They keep trying. Last time we were together, fucking Louis asked Brian, what does it take to get him drunk? And Brian's like, I don't know.
Well, I know. I remember the last time we did the show and you're like, oh, I can't drink because I just had a lot to drink at the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Why do you lie?
I did.
Because I know you didn't.
I did. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to close it. Please share the videos. Y'all come back every Tuesday. 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Pacific Time or Eastern Time.
Yeah, and we want to know what you guys want to talk about. So throw us some ideas for topics, and we will definitely bring them up. And Mike, Brian, Albert, Greg, I love you all. Y'all make this fun. Kevin, I love you.
Love you, babe.
Oh, we didn't. We have to end on something we agree on. Last week, we agreed on legalization of marijuana. What else do we agree on? Okay, here's one. I'm going to ask you a question. Should people on the no-fly zone be allowed to buy guns at a gun show?
No-fly zone.
Most of the people in the no-fly zone are suspected terrorists of some variety.
How do you get on the no-fly zone?
Most of the time because they suspect you of being involved in terrorist activity.
So it's just a suspicion. There's no proof.
Well, no. If you're on the no-fly zone, you are not allowed to fly on a plane in the United States.
But there's proof.
That's why it's called the no-fly zone.
Well,
I mean, the FBI and the CIA, they don't share these details with me. But they have a no-fly zone. If you show up at the airport, you are not allowed to fly. And you might be detained. So should they be able to get guns at a gun show without any real documentation?
So from what I know about guns, you still have to have certain documentations at a gun show. I know there are some loopholes there.
But they do not consult. They don't consult the same channels as if you went to an actual gun dealer. They have some.
Sure. But I would have to say.
It's a real simple question. If you're on the no-fly zone, should you be allowed to have a weapon?
At a gun show, no.
Anywhere. If you're on the no-fly zone, should you be able to buy a gun anywhere? Because currently you can't at any other place but the gun shows.
I want to agree with you and say no, you shouldn't be allowed to. But I mean, I don't know what it takes to get on no-fly zone. If the fucking someone just comes up and say Kevin did this, and now he's on the no-fly zone, I can't buy a fucking gun. I don't agree with that. I want to know what the reason. What does it take to get on the no-fly zone? Then
you have your homework.
Do I think
do some research?
I think felons No, I don't think a felon should be allowed to buy a gun. No.
All
And
felons?
That'll get me some backlash.
All felons? No, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, I have a gun. You know, I'm one of those weird Democrats that has a gun. But I think some of it for me is just common sense. You know what I mean? If you're a known wife abuser,
you got to put more things in place. But I think everybody should legally be allowed to own a gun. But I also think there should be a lot more behind owning a gun. I think just like riding a motorcycle, you should fucking go.
Right? How much did we have to go through to get our license to ride a motorcycle?
You know, and I think with same things.
That's the other thing we have in common. We both have Harleys.
Mm-hmm. So I do think that there should be more realistic.
Well, this is I agree. I think
I take a course to learn how to ride a motorcycle. It's not teaching me how to shift gears. It's teaching me how to get out of sticky situations. It's teaching me how to handle the bike. I think there'd be stuff like that with owning a gun also. Yeah.
Well, I think too, part of the issue is that Congress needs to get really better. And this is, you know, particularly on my side. I don't understand why. I mean, there's certain things like I don't understand why marijuana is not legal right now. Like, if you just put up a simple bill that said legalize marijuana, you know what I mean? Right now, with nothing else in it, it would pass 100 to, well, maybe not, because there's some of the religious folks that are like, no pot, no drugs. But I think it would pass. And I think the majority of American people support it. The problem is they don't want to put it up because of the big pharma. But with any bill, even the gun control stuff, like, you know, having a nationwide registry of gun owners versus state by state, which makes sense to me. Like, for me, if I'm a cop and I'm going to serve on a call at a domestic violence place, I think it would be helpful to know if the person inside has 38 shotguns, right? As a police officer, I feel like this is valuable information to have. Currently, the police don't have that data. You know what I mean? So there's certain things that I think that we could all get behind if they didn't try to just dump everything in it at one time. You know what I mean?
So we can get off onto a big task, but I will say this: did you hear about the cop in Houston, Texas, that was killed last night or this morning?
I saw my friend posted something. I think he was on a domestic violence call, right?
Yeah. And while he was knocking on the door, announcing who he was, they shot and killed him through the door. Yeah. They should go to fucking prison and be under the prison.
But what do you think would have been different had he known, by virtue of looking up, that particular house had what firearms in it?
I think he carries a weapon, is under the influence, that everything is that way. I think he is under.
You don't think the police should know that information? Is that too much information?
No, I think you're taking it wrong. I don't think one way or the other, knowing they had a gun or didn't have a gun would have made a difference. He's already protected with a gun. He's already been trained with his weapon. He's already had training to be a cop. I think the fact that he was there, knocked on the door, announced who he was, and got killed through a door by a gun from the people inside, that's wrong. I think they need to be in prison for murder. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be in prison for murder. The reason I say that is because I'm very torn when it comes to guns. I'm very pro that people need to have educations, like my buddy Corey Pella. He's gotten so much education with guns. He is you can get your concealed carry license from him. He's an instructor. Guys like him are so smart with guns, it's not even fucking funny. Most all of my friends have their CHLs. I do not. You know, I'm just not a big gun guy. I have guns. And I know how to shoot them. And if you come on my property or you come in my home, you're going to find out how fast.
I also don't have a concealed carry. I have it to protect my home and my family, but I have no need to be walking into Kroger with a Glock on my hip. It's just not me.
So,
and I'm already hippie enough. I don't need to add more there.
You know, cops have even told me, "Hey, man, you carry your gun with you when you travel with your gun. Carry it with you." So. You know, that's what police have told me. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, we have successfully been on exactly 2 hours now.
All right, we are done. I love you, my friend.
Love you.
So we're gonna talk in a couple of days about the other thing we were talking about before the show. Business stuff. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Please give us some stuff on the chat of what you think we should talk about next week, and have an amazing week. I also just want to point out, Kevin, I will not be able to do the show on November 3rd because it is election night, and I am working with the election office on election night. So you can do the show without me. Maybe I can try to call in or something from where I'm working, but I don't know if I can.
Or we may not do the show that night because it's election night.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Tuesday.
Yeah. So maybe we skip it a week and then get everybody time to mourn and or cheer, depending on where they're at and what happened. And then we all get together the following Tuesday and either celebrate or drown our sorrows together. Whatever side you're on, let's all party it up the week after, the Tuesday after election night, and, make each other feel better.
Absolutely. Okay.
Be kind.